Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am just going to go ahead and dive right in. As I'm moving on in some of these studio designer tutorials, I just want to go ahead and start getting some content out there. I've been working on catching up other people and taking calls. I'm listening to what you're saying. So I know that these two studio designer tutorials is what seems to be all the buzz. So I am going to really make an honest effort to dive in and continue to create content only found here or on my website. Okay. So thank you so much for feedback. I appreciate it. Please like, post, subscribe, comment below if there are topics that you want to see and things like that. Please definitely let me know what it is you want to see. I'm listening. That being said, I am just going to dive right in and I'm going to go into my pitch on bank recs, okay? I've said it before, I'll say it again, I will continue to say it. Bank recs are probably, for me, the single most important day-to-day or monthly maintenance duty that one can do for their business. Doesn't matter how big or how small your business is. I am always going to start every call by pulling up the balance sheet that tells me how many accounts we need to reconcile every month to maintain your business, okay? And that doesn't mean that there aren't some missing or that there are some erroneous ones, but that is where I start. So when I look at this, this tells me that there's one, two, okay, three accounts to reconcile every month, okay? Up here, you're gonna find all cash accounts. Cash accounts will include Venmo, PayPal, petty cash, all cash accounts, okay? If it's tied into your business, it should be on here, okay? And some people say, well, I don't want to reconcile that account. Okay, well, then anything that is not on here is not something that we're going to maintain. So that means if something happens or a client pays you on that account and you forget to tell us, we may still be bugging them for said payment, okay? So always pull up the balance sheet. I'm wanting to know, so of these, I'm looking for an Amex, a petty cash, and a Chase checking account. Okay, so if you're not doing those bank recs, and I don't mean just pulling up the account online and just kind of confirming that things are in, that is not what I mean. I am referring to going in, those of you that are in studio designer, and I'm assuming all of you are if you're watching this video, and if you're not, you're probably wanting to learn how to do these things in studio, and I'm happy to show you. So from here, you will always notice that I work with multiple tabs, okay? Multiple tabs eliminate the need to go in and out of one section. So I might do money out for posting. I might put this as items because I want to look at things. I might even open one more for general ledger, okay? And I'm going to dive into that in just a little bit, okay? So let's get this over. Okay, so this is the general ledger. I have an items tab, which we can change the details on, and then I have money out for entering some things if I need to, and then the checking account, okay? When you do the accounting reconciliation, it's gonna pull this up. You are going to pull up the paying or account that you wish to reconcile, and in this case, I chose the checking, right? And you are going to put the statement ending date, okay? You need to be referencing a statement ending date. Do not make one up or use today's date. This matters for a number of reasons, okay? And you should be saving. For all my clients and everybody I work with, I save all the bank statements, credit card, loan, all of it. And then I save the reconciliation reports. There are 2 reports that will accompany the bank recs. You should be saving those. I've had to reference them when things go wrong or when bank recs are off and things of that nature. So save them. I will ask for them if you call me for a troubleshoot. Okay, so here you can see, I mean, it's today's date, but I will go and back up to the last reconciliation, which is last year. Okay, and in through here, I mean, I know that that's a starting balance. This is what it should look like at the end of a reconciliation, just so we're clear. Okay, this is the bank starting balance per the statement. If it is not, if that, and let me back up and I'll unreconcile these because I want you to see what this looks like. I want to make sure I cover this. When I start the bank rec, this is what it looks like. Okay, I chose this bank account, I chose the statement ending date, I put in the beginning balance. This is what it should look like at the beginning of a bank rec. If you put in the beginning balance and it does not match, something's wrong. So I would probably look at the month prior to make sure that there was nothing wrong with that one. Okay, the thing about being off is if you are off on a month, it will follow, even if it's off a penny. Know that that penny, I always tell everybody that I train not to just do away with that penny. They'll just put it up or down on something. It's only a penny. That penny will come up again. Trust me when I tell you. So when in doubt, I probably would have just posted an adjustment. Okay. You're going to find that a lot of things that are entered into Studio cannot be revised or changed. Okay. And what I'm talking about is like in through here, cash receipts, you'll see there's no way for me to change it. There's not even a way, you can't even change the coding. Okay. So that is something to be mindful of. This is a journal entry. Journal entries also cannot be voided or deleted. Okay. So there are certain things, there are a number of different ways that you can enter certain transactions. The way that I teach them is typically contingent upon like where you are in this process. Like for somebody that isn't very well versed in journal entries, I'm not going to ask them to do that. Okay, I probably would ask them to do it as a money out because that makes it a little bit revisable for me. Okay. So that being said, I do want to show you now, if you pull up this, it's a cash disbursement entered in money out. You can see that I now can void or delete it. I can also reclass where it gets coded to. Okay. So some things to be mindful of when doing this, and I'm just going to go ahead and start. So this is what it should look like when you start. If it does not look like this or the numbers don't jive, check the month prior. Okay, and then from there, I usually will tie out, based on, I don't have a real bank statement to pull up, otherwise I would show it to you, but this was for training purposes. So I'm going to go ahead and take all of these, and then this would be the ending balance. Okay, so I make sure that this ending balance does in fact tie to the ending balance on the statement. Okay, and then from there, I am going to print these reconciliation reports. Okay, let me show you what they look like so you know what you're dealing with. Now here, there is nothing outstanding. Had there been anything that did not clear, those would be listed here, and that is important to know because if your bank balance is $202,977, okay, if it was that, but your balance, but let's say you wrote other checks and they just didn't clear yet, those would be listed here and the bank balance would be different on your balance sheet, just so we're clear. Okay. And then the reconciled report tells me everything that in fact was reconciled. So this is kind of just a recap from Studio of what we said cleared on the bank rec. I save all this. I save both of these reports with a copy of the bank statement. Yes, I do this for every single account on every single client on everybody that I deal with. Okay. So moving on to petty cash, because petty cash doesn't have a statement, that's going to require you to go ahead and count up the money that's in your little cash box or wherever you keep that. And then you're going to reconcile that. That's the whole reason why there are receipts that we ask for in the petty cash bin. So if we use any of it, like right now, this tells me that we put in 1,000, but we spent a little. So there's about $928.50 sitting in our cash box, okay, at the office. Okay, now I still reconcile that. I keep it with all of that and I document everything. Okay. And then these can get filed with the receipts. Now, on an Amex and anything that is a liability, so this would be loans, all of the above. Okay, and this one probably needs some bank recs to be done, but again, this is a training account. So what I want you to be mindful of is when we are doing these bank recs, we are going to be starting off. This was the last reconciled amount. So we had $7,394.39 as the beginning balance. That is correct. You can see that it starts off correctly. Okay, that is what we owed. It's in the negative because it's not a cash account. It's a liability. It means we owe this money. So the more that we spend, meaning the more that we pay vendors on this credit card, it is going to increase the balance. Just, a little opposite to what a checking account would do, right? When you write checks, we're decreasing the money. When we are talking in terms of credit cards, we are increasing the amount that we owe. So if this particular transaction cleared and I select it, our balance now jumps up by $10,000. Okay, so that is correct. Okay, I do the same exact thing when I'm reconciling these. You're just going to need to know it's a liability and that's why it's negative. Okay, does that make sense? We owed this, but because this payment of $10,000 cleared, it's a payment to our vendor for an order, it increased to the balance. So as we select all of these, you can see that our balance is increasing by the transactions of these payments and finance charge, right? So we now owe $19,000. You can see that there's more charges. I'm just selecting some so we can go over the limit. So now, assuming all of these have cleared, we owed $23,000, but up we paid $20,000. So now it drops down to this. Okay, just want to show you that. And again, these are going to be the same reports. I'm saving the outstanding reconciliation and let me show you. So these are all the things that did not clear. So remember how I said the statement might have showed this. However, when I look at the balance sheet, it's going to show a higher amount. So it is so important to know what's outstanding because anything outstanding could be a duplicate. It could be something that should be voided. It could be that maybe it was never submitted or mailed or whatever the case may be. I mean, obviously we're not going to mail it on a Amex, but it just means it wasn't processed. So I'm especially mindful of payments to us coming in, like client payments. If those didn't clear, that's a red flag. Usually if something doesn't clear, it should clear the month after. There's nothing that should be years old. Okay, so I encourage everybody to be especially mindful of those outstanding items at the end of the year. Because of course we're going to want to address these because it's affecting our financials. Okay, and if they're old and they don't clear, they need to go away. They need to be addressed, either voided and cleared on this next go around. You always want to watch for this. Okay, I see people that say, oh well, I did the bank rec and it tied out, so they don't really care. No, you need to know what's outstanding because this outstanding still changes your financials. Okay, so there is a reason why you wouldn't just leave it there. Okay, and then here's everything that did clear. Okay, and you can see how it does tie out, but the outstanding now shows a totally different number. Okay, if you looked at the financials right now, it would show this. Okay, so I'm not going to reconcile this for now. I'm just showing you. And that is my pitch on bank recs. Okay. Bank recs, all the transactions should be here. There are a number of different ways that things could get entered. There is a way to import transactions from a CSV file. Please be advised that the only things that cannot be imported like that would be payments from clients because those need to be entered from money in. Okay, so you don't want to import those. Everything else can be imported and you'd have to set that up. I I believe I have a tutorial on setting up the bank import mapping. Okay, if you don't know how to do that, watch for my video or search your studio user guide. Okay, and that is pretty much it. Now, the other things that you want to be mindful of is you can import, and I remember I said you can also do money out transactions. I set up little templates for things I know that are recurring. And how you would use the templates is you're basically going to go in here. So every time I make a payment to the Amex, instead of me importing it, I like to do things in real time. Okay, and if I am working with just one or two clients, I'm updating this stuff all the time. Every time I work, I want to know that the books are pretty much reflecting real time activity. Okay. For those that I wait, you can just kind of, you basically unselect it, you update the information that you want to change, which would be the check number. My check numbers, I use these kinds of naming conventions for a number of different reasons. I like the ability to know what account is paying them without drilling down in different areas of studio, okay, if you're wondering. But otherwise, this is how you would use this template. So I would just revise it, like maybe I want to say 12/31/22, 12/31/2022, and then maybe I want to change this to 5,000. Okay, and that is how you would post it. You can now see it's ready to post. That turns red. If I wanted to print checks, I can print them. I can revise them and reprint, and you can just post them. That's all that this is. This is your last chance to change it before posting it. Okay. If you have order payments, you can select that and then get that up here. The other way that you can post payments to an order is by going to the actual PO and searching for it here. Okay. And you can see that we do have some POs open. So you would just go in here and you can post the payment to the PO. Okay, and if there were multiple items, you would see them listed. It is defaulting to, I think this one's set up for 50% payment. Okay, so if it's set up to 100% payment, that would default to 100, but my guess is that it's, yeah, you can see here that it's set up for 50% payment. That's why there's that default. Okay, so here it's defaulting to that. I'm going to select the paying account, put in the date, and then my reference number. Okay. And remember how I said I like to name things a certain way. I'm about to show you why. I'm just going to date this for 2022. And I like to put Amex because there's a number of reasons why I like to do that, and I'll show you right now. I like to do specific naming conventions when I use certain accounts, and I go into that in other videos, but I want to show you. So if I pulled up this item and I'm looking around, you can see here that you can't drill down, and like I'd have to look up what this payment was. So, but because I labeled it this way, I know that anything with A or Amex came from the Amex account, so I know that it would have been on that particular bank rec. Okay, if that makes sense. Okay. And because I don't let things stay outstanding for too long, I know that if the payment is posted and it's been a while, it probably really did clear. When things don't clear, I address them right away. Okay. So hopefully that sheds some light on bank recs, the ways that you can post things. I always look things up in the general ledger. When in doubt, I Google the business or the vendor, and I look for how things have been done in the business. Okay, have we paid them before? Whatever those details are. And one more thing I want to really highlight also on bank recs and postings, you should never, ever, ever code anything from money out or anywhere else or journal entry. You should not ever have to code anything to any sales income account or cost of sales account. Okay? I'm going to say that again. You should never be coding a money out transaction. So like, for example, let me just I'm trying to think of one that might be a good example. Let's just say, I don't know, you were going to pay article from your, let's see, from your Amex, and I don't know, I'm just going to code it for today, and I might just say cost of sales. I see this happen. I see people do this all the time. So they'll say cost of sales, accessories, let's just say. Okay, I want to make sure I show this because I run into troubleshoot calls like this a lot. Okay, so they might say 505. Okay, let's just pretend. So there's a number of ways you can do this. Okay, this is wrong because anything that needs to be in a cost of sales account goes on a project. Okay, I want to make sure that that is clear. Now, if it is not for some reason, and I see, maybe, what's a good example? Home Goods. Maybe you went to Home Goods on install day. Let's do that one. Home Goods, it's install day. I'll just do it like this. Accessories for install day. Okay, I might do something like that. Now, I will code it to, I'm just going to code it to a client. Let's just say this client, you know, I can put whatever I want to say. Now here, if I know that all accessories were kept, okay, which isn't always the case, as we all know for those of us that have been doing this for a while, okay, I do it a number of ways. So if I know that we so-and-so went to Home Goods during Dillard's install on this day, today, I might code this to suspense because I don't know what's going or what. So this tells me by coding this 505 to suspense, it reminds me. Suspense is something that I'm always going to pick at. If anything in suspense means we need to discuss it, we're waiting on a refund, we're waiting for a PO, whatever the case may be, suspense means it's something pending. Like we need more info or we need to address it. Okay, so I might post it to suspense. Now, if I knew that the entire amount was going to go to the client's house, like we're not taking anything back. All the accessories that we bought on install day from Home Goods are a go. You can do other things. Like I might do something like, I could do the generic cost of sales. Usually that would tell me that I need to create an item. Me personally, had I been doing this, I might create an item if I knew the entire thing was a go. But when in doubt, I might do it like this. Okay, so there's 505, and I might do Dillard again. So let me explain. This up here is for job cost. So this does not bill the client. It jobs it to the client. So if I took somebody out to lunch, I might put restaurants and I might code it, but I might want to still know that it was this client. Doesn't mean I'm billing them back. To bill a client back or not is going to come from here on this reimbursable. And I don't know if I set this up. I did. So here I can say I want to mark this up 48%. So this right here is a markup of 48% of this. Okay. So I might post that. I don't know if that's go. And then that posts that reimbursable portion. And now this is going to post the transaction that I need to reconcile my credit card, right? Because we went to Home Goods and spent that money. Okay. Now that is going to be viewed at a little different because this now is in activities, but that is a whole nother segment. I'm trying to get through bank recs, so I don't want to do that too much. I just wanted to make sure that I touched on some of the ways that you enter and what certain things and areas mean. Okay? So this is how you would get something entered, and basically that's it. You can import, you can enter manually, you can pay an order here, you can cut checks, you can pay an order from the order tab and just post it. There's a number of different ways, but it all leads to getting these transactions in here to now do these reconciliations, okay? And believe me when I tell you that they are necessary. I've seen where people have posted the same transaction several times, but they don't realize it because the bank recs aren't being done. Because they're like, oh yeah, I entered that we went to the restaurant. But they don't realize if you're not doing bank recs and you entered this 2 or 3 times and there's a ton of transactions, and I've seen that happen, you're not going to always catch it, okay? So just be mindful of that. It needs to make sense. Anytime when you pull up the balance sheet, those accounts need to tie into those statements. And that is what they're going to look for in an audit, okay? And then once we determine that all of these accounts now tie in, and usually, I mean, for me, I would, at the end of the year, I'll put a screenshot of the little year-end statement. They're the last statement, just to confirm that each of these accounts tied. Once I know that, then we can now review the books and clean them up and move things around and ask the questions, okay? And then I'll visit the subledgers. But bank recs are the single most important monthly maintenance task to maintain accurate books. Okay, I cannot stress it enough. I cannot tell you enough the importance of it. Okay, if you don't see it, like I said, I'm not here to sell you on that. Your business will probably reflect that. Okay, accurate books, are the livelihood of this business. If you're paying, or if these things are wrong, or you're managing this incorrectly, there needs to be a way to check that, okay? And anybody that's managing a business needs to have the basics down pat. You need to be able to break this out to the business owner, okay? I don't expect everybody to be an accountant, but I do expect the basics to be understood. I implement processes and checks and balances to ensure that these things make sense. And that is something that I, really teach and go into in my mentorship program. Any of you that have worked with me know that I am OCD on this stuff, and I tie out to the penny, even on sales tax. So, hope this provided some information for those of you working and in managing businesses, or managing your own business for that matter. Okay, bank recs are important. If you have any questions or want to see more, definitely hit me up or subscribe and comment. Thank you.